justice. And one of our accused killers was acquitted.
In the trial of two men accused of killing an off-duty police officer.
That's right. Prosecutors put detectives on the stand. 29-year-old Trayvon Anderson and 41-year-old Glenn Ferguson are charged with second-degree murder. A Shreveport police detective testified that an accomplice, Lawrence Pierre, led them to the murder weapon that he'd stashed away at a friend's house. Pierre pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison.
They also showed video of an interview with Glenn Ferguson, who denies being at the crime scene despite cell phone data that puts him there. Question from the defense on whether Ferguson knew what was happening brought an objection and a recess. Trial continues.
It took 3 years, but tonight, for the family of fallen Shreveport police officer Shatari Payne, justice was served. Trayvon Anderson, the man prosecutors say orchestrated her murder in 2019, was found guilty. The jury got the case late this afternoon following 2 hours of dramatic closing arguments. But while Anderson will live the rest of his life in prison for killing a police officer, KSLA Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron tells us why one of Anderson's co-defendants is now a free man.
Shatari Payne was just 22 years old, a mother of a 2-year-old girl, and a rookie on the Shreveport Police Department when she was gunned down in her driveway back in January of 2019. Now, after a 3-week trial and nearly 11 days of testimony, there's a verdict in this high-profile murder case. Guilty. Trayvon Anderson, Payne's one-time boyfriend, found guilty of second-degree murder and guilty of conspiracy to commit second-degree murder. However, his co-defendant, Glenn Ferguson, the jury acquitted him of both charges, second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit second-degree murder, after only 2 hours of deliberation. It was an emotional moment in court when the court reporter read the verdict of guilty against Trayvon Anderson for murder and conspiracy. Members of Payne's family breaking down, crying softly in court. After that verdict, we caught up with Overton Jefferson, Shatari Payne's father, as well as District Attorney James Stewart, to get the reaction to today's split verdict.
I'm glad everybody did a good job, and I think justice was served.
We thank the jury for its job. This took a long time. We started this journey, and we're happy with the verdict.
Following today's guilty verdict, Trayvon Anderson will now spend the rest of his life in a Louisiana prison, serving at hard labor with no possibility of suspension, probation, or parole. Reporting outside the Caddo Parish Courthouse, I'm Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron.
Guys, rest in peace to Shatari Payne. And with him being sentenced to life in prison at hard labor in Louisiana, guys, that pretty much means he will spend his time in Angola Penitentiary. Now, guys, as for Mr. Glenn Ferguson, guys, he was acquitted, and guys, he was found not guilty on conspiracy to commit murder or second-degree murder. And if you guys go back and look at the story from 2019 and you guys start reading, is they have updated a lot of articles and they got a lot of information about this on the internet. Guys, from the start, they were already saying they really had no solid evidence on Mr. Glenn Ferguson. Now, guys, they did say his cell phone was in the area of the crime scene, but guys, sometimes that's just not enough evidence to pin some on someone. But guys, Glenn Ferguson is still going to federal prison. He was sentenced a couple years ago for gun and drug charges. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison. So he's done with the murder, but he will still go to prison for other charges. But guys, that is not a good thing when you have to sit in prison for something that you didn't do. Guys, they say it's innocent until proven guilty. But guys, it seems like you're guilty until you're proved innocent. And guys, the police, they're no stranger to picking on Glenn Ferguson. And guys, Glenn Ferguson's sister had some words for SPD. Guys, check out this clip.
For the whole time it happened, ever since that SPD officer Shatari Payne got killed, that my brother Glenn shot dog Ferguson didn't have nothing to do with that. Oh, he was just acquitted of all his charges. So yeah, free shot. He still got to go do that 12 years on that federal charge. Yeah, everybody else was found guilty. They was convicted. They railroaded my brother, had him locked up for killing their police for 3 years. And yes, no, they just cleared my brother's name. The police could have killed my brother or anything, talking about that he killed a police officer. They did him all kind of dirty. Anybody could have went behind him talking about that he killed her. And the whole time, the Hindenburger, the same one who lied about just the murder, talking about that they knew that he didn't have nothing to do with it, but they thought he knew something about it. SPD ain't shit, ain't never been shit, ain't gonna never be.
And also, Ratchet City News, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification will drop it like crazy.